My next guests, James Pinchin and Margaret Mulcahy, are here to tell us all about the architecture and built environment subject areas at the university. Hello both, how are you?
Hi. Good,
Very well, thank you.
Good, thank you. So, could you give us a short overview of the range of courses that you have available in your department?
So we have architecture, which is to do with the design and construction of buildings in the landscape, and
we have engineering courses, which are all about taking science and engineering principles and applying them to those buildings.
we also have an architecture course with environmental design, which crosses both of those areas and amalgamates all of that information into a single piece of architecture.
Mm-hmm. One of my housemates did that one.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Yeah. And why should someone choose this area to do their degree?
For us on the engineering side, I think it's the ability to make a difference. So buildings are huge consumers of energy, and you can make a really big difference to the amount of energy, global energy, the amount of energy that we consume globally by working in this area.
Mm-hmm.
And for us it's the same. It's very similar in that we have agency as architects. We can make an enormous difference to place how people are in their homes, in their schools, in their hospitals. So that very positive contribution to society really, and how it is allowed to operate in its built environment. And also we're taking on board what James is saying around how those buildings operate.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And why should people choose Nottingham specifically to do architecture and built environment?
I think with architecture, we're uniquely placed where our graduates are equally confident in going into the world, understanding that creative process and that rigour behind creativity, where our students understand how it is to build and to allow buildings to be operated in a very efficient way. So we're equally confident in technical knowledge and creative processes, which is a wonderful platform that Nottingham provides.
Great.
And I think for us it's the uniqueness of what we teach. So the combination of subjects that we teach creates graduates who are very employable. You can see that in our statistics. We do very well in the employment side of things because we have good links with industry.
And that brings us on nicely to my next question, which is about how the department prepares students for the job market once they're finished.
So we have, on our courses, we have industrial placement options, so students can actually go out into industry and apply what they're learning while they're learning during the degree programme. We have quite a lot of links with industry during the course, and we also teach industry standard methods and pieces of software, and we know that's useful to people in industry because, again, that helps with our employment statistics.
Fab.
Yeah, we bring a lot of practicing architects into the studio, so our studios are taught through practice and academic knowledge. Our students are also really able communicators because we're consistently presenting, understanding and listening and considering the actual problems that are being posed and the challenges that need to be addressed. And then to arrive at a proposal that will actually try and resolve those things is a very broad set of skills, but that communication of those ideas is really, really important because we're consistently having to do it, which is the practice of that communication is very important to us.
Fab. And going on from that, what are the kind of hands-on projects that students can get involved with?
So our major piece of hands-on work comes at the end of our degree when students take on a dissertation project, and they'll work one-on-one with an academic for a whole year, and they'll get the chance to do things both in the lab and with using real buildings. And we actually have a set of real buildings on campus that students can modify, change, measure, and really get involved with.
Exciting.
Yeah, and we work with live clients, so people that come into the school with a real need for something. We build all the time in studio, one-to-one or to scale prototypes of models, and we also have a very long-standing live build project which has been run internationally for the last 11 years, and that will continue, and we continue to build on site all the time. So there is that feel for material and understanding of material property that becomes part of our studio environment all the time.
Yeah, my house was always full of foam board and little mini houses and things. Yeah, and community centres often. Yeah.
And I bet you they were trying to test products and test all sorts of timber, and yes, I know we've been speaking about that this morning in a lecture, and testing to destruction bridges. We have a live build bridge project which the first years do, and that's a collaborative project where we have engineers and architectural students working on that same project, but it's also to do with how we use materials. So what happens with that material after it's used for that project is very much ingrained in the project itself.
It's all about material efficiency, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's really great that the engineers and the architects are working together, right? Because they're learning from each other and their different skill sets. Yeah, thank you. So where do all of these things, exciting things, take place? Could you tell me a bit about the facilities that we have on campus?
Well, we have studios. They're sort of the beating heart of the architecture department. So everything goes on in there, and we also have a fantastic centre for 3D design, and we have all sorts of equipment and facilities in there to do with laser printing, routing, all sorts of saws. We can pour concrete. We can make lots of things in there. But actually, the most important thing about that entire facility is the dedicated team we have in that workshop. They're outstanding. They are the most dedicated team I've ever come across. And when our students will come into them and say, I want to make a guitar to test timbre, or I want to see how something will work over time in an environment, they'll go, we find a way every time. So we've had all sorts of things made, from violins to entire maps of York and what might happen if it was flooded, for instance. So all sorts of different projects going on in there. They've never said no.
Wow.
And then I tell all the students that, and then all the 3D people come back to me and go,
Don't say that.
It's not yes or no, it's how do we do it? Yes, how do we make it happen? Yeah.
Exactly.
Fabulous.
I think the best thing about the department for us is that we make use of the engineering faculty facilities. So we've got some great teaching facilities across the faculty, but we also have stuff that's just ours, just our own. So I mentioned earlier, we have houses that we can, and buildings which we can change and modify and use practically in our research. We have labs dedicated to our subject area, and we have teaching spaces dedicated to our subject area. It's a really nice thing to have.
Great, thank you. So I have my last question now, and it's probably quite a nice one. So what advice would you give to prospective students who are watching today, thinking about applying to university?
For me, I think it's all about curiosity and trying to develop that sense of curiosity and inquisitiveness. I think that will help before and during, and most importantly after a degree. It's the most important quality somebody can have.
Keep asking questions.
Keep asking questions,
Yeah.
that's it.
Yeah, 100%. And to be open-minded. And, there's this enormous opportunity to be with a large group of people that are interested in exactly what you are interested in. And that collaborative approach to what you're doing, it can only make everything better. And to share that experience with your cohorts, a really positive environment to be in. Yeah.
Brilliant. Thank you both so much.
Thank you.
Find out more about architecture and built environment at Nottingham using the link below. And you can send in any questions you have using the QR code.